Hello friends, and welcome back to Paris Crochet Flow. My name is Paris and I am back with another follow along. I usually don't like calling these videos tutorials because they are not very formally done and neither are they very concise. Sometimes I say it's going to be a quick video, but it ends up being 45 minutes. So I hope you will be patient with me. Today I will try and make this as quick as I can. That could be 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I am not sure because I haven't pre-recorded this before, but I'm not gonna talk so much about it. Let's get right into it. So I think about crochet as concept, and that's the intention of this video, is showing you a concept that you can follow to make 3 or more different projects. In this case, we are going to make a pierogi, we are going to make an oyster, and we are going to make any fruit slice or key holder based on whichever yarn you use. If you choose to use plushie yarn, you're gonna have a tiny little plushie or however big you would like it to be. And if you use worsted weight yarn, you're gonna end up with a nice keychain like this, or whichever color you would like. I've made before one that was this color pink. It was a guava, I believe, of a keychain, and this one I think it's a keychain of a watermelon or an apple, whichever way you would like to think about it. But let's get right into it. The concept is that you make a circular base like this one, and we are going to do this together, and I will write down all the instructions in the link in the description below, so that you can either follow along or you can just go and look at the notes and make something. So we are going to start with a base like this. In this case, I'm going to be using this pink yarn, which can be a fruit. I think I forget which color of fruit this would be, but I can just maybe for now call it a guava, but it can be any fruit that you would like. So we are going to start with this pink, but our goal is to make, either you want to make a fruit slice or a keychain, you want to make an oyster, or you want to make a pierogi, or you want to make all of these projects. Let's get into it. So we are going to start with a circular piece like this. I have my crochet hook. Size 5 is usually my favorite, between 5 and 6. I don't like using larger one. I have my darning needle. I have my stitch marker. I usually use yarn as my stitch marker for most of my projects, just because it works easier. You could use whatever stitch markers you have. I don't need scissors because I just usually snap the yarn. I have a whole bunch of safety eyes. I do have more. I don't have to show you all of them. I have the backs of my safety eyes. This could change. I don't know if this is the size I will need, but let's just start. So we are going to start. For if you're interested in making an oyster, you will have to make this small piece before or after, so that you can attach it to your circular piece. So I already have one made, just so that when it comes time to make an oyster, this one is just 3 rows. So I started with 6 single crochets, then I increased to 9, and then I decreased again to 6 and sealed it. There is no stuffing inside. I just put the safety eyes, and this is going to be my oyster. So this is gonna be something like this, but we are gonna make a gray one. I already have a few pieces prepared, but for the purpose of this, we are gonna make one which is going to be our fruit. So let's get started, and hopefully you end up with one of these projects, or whichever color you have. All right, so we will start with a magic ring or magic circle, whatever you call it. I seem unprepared here, but I really was prepared. So you're gonna start with the magic ring, whichever way you do it. Just start with the magic ring. You can start with 6. Usually I start with 12. If you start with 6, you're going to be one step behind me, because then you have to increase to 12. But for me, I start with 12. I just make them loose so that I can pull my magic circle closed when I'm done. So we are going to start with 12 single crochets. So I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like to pull it a little bit at 6 so that I can it's easier to close it. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 and 12. I'm hoping I stay within view, because that has been a big challenge for me when using my phone. Now I have my 12 single crochets. Now the second row, we are going to make an increase in every single crochet, so we are going to end up with 24. So 1, 2, I'm going to insert my stitch marker at the beginning here. You can see yarn comes in handy, just small pieces of yarn. So 2, 3, 4, no, sorry, I wasn't increasing. Let's do that again. So increasing in every single crochet. So I already have made 1, so 2. So like I said, we are gonna end up with 24. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24. Now for the next row, we are just gonna single crochet around. So I'm gonna make my first one, and as you can see, I have moved my stitch marker there. So 1, we're gonna make 1 single crochet around, so we are gonna have 24 at the end of the row. So go ahead and make that and meet me at the end, and we will move to the next row. So this is row number 3. Row number 3, we single crochet around. So just single crochet and meet me at the end. So 2. I'm back to the beginning of the row. As you can see, my stitch marker, and I'm gonna move it frontwise. And now we're gonna do row number 4, and it's going to be 2 single crochets and an increase, and we end up with 32 stitches. So 2 single crochets and an increase. So 1, 2 and an increase, and we are gonna do this, I believe, 8 times. We are gonna end up with 32. So go ahead and do that and meet me at the end again. So 2 single crochets and an increase. So I'm back to the beginning. So I'm done with my row 3, my row 4, which is 2 single crochets and an increase. And as you can see, the piece is remaining flat. So what you need to remember is, for you to have a flat piece, it's usually by increasing. It doesn't matter how you increase, I find. as a beginner, I would say just go with the flow. Increase if you see it's becoming like a ball, just increase to flatten it again, but don't stress about stitch count in the beginning because it can become a bit overwhelming. So for our row number 5, we are going to single crochet around, so we are going to have 32 still. So that's my first stitch. So we are going to single crochet around all the way, and we are going to have 32 at the end, and that is the base of all our projects. And when I say all our projects, is to end up with either a pierogi, a fruit slice, or an oyster, based on whichever color you choose. So let's make 32 single crochets around and meet me at the end. So I am back to the beginning, and as you can see, like I said, it's starting to curve inside. So for the next row, if you're planning to make a fruit slice, I would say increase after every 3 stitches so that you can have another line of a different color, usually green for this fruit slices, or whichever color you're going to choose. So I am going to stop here for now. I'm gonna take another yarn of another color, but before then I will show you the pieces that I have, so that we can take it from there. So remember, we are at row number 5, which is 32 stitches. If you want to make it bigger, you just keep going and increasing in every row consecutively, maybe after every 4, after every 5, after every 2. It's still, as long as it remains flat. So I do already have this, which can be a lemon piece. I have the green one, which can be an apple. I have the gray one, which I intend that we are gonna use it to make the oyster. And I have this one, the off-white, which we will make to make the pierogi. But of most importance is that you note we are starting with the round piece. I also have this large one, same pattern, just that I used larger yarn, thicker, which is super bulky, so that's why it looks larger. But you could, as you can see, you can use any yarn size. So this one is going to be a watermelon, as you can tell. But like you can see, we are starting with circles for all of them. And to remember that once we fold the fruit slice, we can either go ahead and stuff it lightly so that it remains relatively flat, or if you're using super bulky yarn, you could leave it as is, and then just go ahead and add either safety eyes, some seeds, or as you would like to make your fruit slice. So let's go ahead and finish up the one that we have, the one that we started with the pink, because then that's going to be our finished. So at this point, I'm going to change the color of yarn, and I am going to introduce the dark green one for the peel. So start the stitch with the pink, and I'm going to change into this green. Usually I like to secure it by using both strands, so that way the end is secured, both strands of the new yarn. I'm going to break this pink yarn now, and we are going to join these two here so that it's secure. So I usually just double knot, or whichever way you like to secure your yarn. Usually double knot just to make sure, or triple knot to make sure it's pretty secure. So as you can see, our fruit piece is coming along. So for this row, we are going to repeat the same row we did again, or we can do three single crochet, then an increase, and then that will be our last row. So 3, and then we increase. I didn't do this before, so I don't know the count, but whichever way you get it, just make sure it remains flat. So we are doing 3 single crochets and an increase, just to keep it relatively flat. go ahead and finish that and meet me at the end. I'm back to the beginning. So at this point we are going to fold our fruit piece into a slice. As you can see, if I fold this one, maybe a guava. For the watermelon, I added two rounds, a lighter green and a darker green. I don't have the correct green for the peels, but whichever green you have, just use that. And for the lemon, I used yellow, and etc, etc. So now we are going to put in some safety eyes, and I'm gonna just to make it prettier, I'll give it the safety eyes with glitters at the back. You don't have to do this part. You can also embroider some eyes and whatever other facial expressions you choose. So I'm going to insert my safety eyes between insert it between row 3 and 4, so 2, 3, 4, so right here, and doesn't have to be any perfect, just make it about 3, 4 or even 5 stitches apart. So I'm gonna secure the eyeballs from behind, or you, again, like I said, you could embroider some eyes. So there's my fruit piece. Now for the fruit pieces, I think that using a darning needle is the best option, because then it gives the edge a seamless look. But you could also use your crochet hook, but for this one, let's just go ahead and seal it using a darning needle. So I'm gonna thread my yarn through. This video is pretty much for beginners who are learning, because I'm sure if you're an avid crocheter, you already know all this. So just ignore this and have fun making whatever you're making, while beginners are welcome to keep watching. Okay, so we're gonna seal using only the back loop only. That way it looks seamless. Notice I'm only using the back loop, and like I mentioned before, we are going to very lightly stuff our project. So this part could be slower. If you're using your crochet, it might be faster, but sometimes I do prefer to do this because it allows for a seamless look, like I said. So go ahead and seal whichever way you're sealing it. Stuff it a little bit. Once you get to about here, almost closing, stuff it a little bit, like stuff it very lightly, and then we'll move from there. So meet me at the point where we stuff, and let's finish our project. Okay, I'm at a point where we can now stuff our fruit. As you can see, you could keep it as flat as it is, and you can also make pouches in this manner. So that's why I would like you to think about crochet as a concept rather than just steps and rows and counting and whatnot. You can always use one concept to make different things. So if I were to make a pouch, I could seal here and here, and I have my pouch there, maybe put a button or whatever, but for now let's focus on the fruit pieces. So we are going to stuff it lightly using polyfill or yarn scraps, whatever you have. I do have my polyfill, so let's just stuff it lightly and then seal. You don't want to overstuff it because then it's gonna bulge like my other fruit piece that I showed you in the beginning. But yeah, I think that's sufficient. Now I'm going to completely seal my fruit because I like how it feels nice and soft. So I will continue and seal this part, and I will meet you at the end. Now we are done sealing the fruit piece. I'm going to weave in a little bit of an edge, an end, weave in the end based on how much you had, and I'm just going to cut, to break my yarn that way. So I hide most of the piece in the project itself. I noticed that if you wash these things, the yarn does come out, so it's good to secure it as much as you can, but chances that when you wash the project it will come off if it's your own project. But also it's good to let people know if you're selling that once they wash, some hidden yarn may come out, and that's okay. They can always put it back in. So there we have our fruit piece, and using the same concept now, you can go ahead and join whichever pieces you had. If it was your lemon, your apple slice, I'm not going to join this on video, but like I said, just put some safety eyes. In this case, for this one, I would be putting my safety eyes between the third and the fourth. So remember, you have to fold it inside out. The piece where the yarn is the inside, and you can see the inside stitch definition is not as good as the outer part. So you would put your safety eyes right there, secure them, then seal it around and fill, and there you have your apple slice, your lemon slice, whichever slice this is, or a watermelon slice. So for those of you who want to make a pierogi, we are going to take it from here. So if you are doing a fruit, you can stay, you can hang in and stay with us and watch the rest of the video, or you could end it there and enjoy making more fruit pieces. So there you are. Go ahead and seal your fruit piece and enjoy your project. For those who are staying for the pierogi, I have this piece already made up to row 5, which we had 32 stitches. And now with the pierogi, you fold it inside with this part, fold it into halves, because all of them is, remember the concept is to have it folded into halves like that. I'll fold it beginning where we started. This is a big mess here, sorry about that. I'm gonna have to fix it first. I have so much yarn here, so it's now getting all tangled. Just bear with me for a minute here. So if you're to make a pierogi, you could, one way of doing it is you may want to seal first halfway using a slip stitch like that, and seal it all along until up to there, and then stuff it, and then come back making a ruffle to end up with something like this ruffle that goes that way, using half double crochets or double crochets or even single crochets. Just make a ruffle. But to cut, I go ahead and seal it just using the ruffle, so that is one step less. So let us go ahead and seal it using a ruffle. I prefer using half double crochets, and while it's folded like that, I make 3 half double crochets in every stitch on and joining both ends. So you could choose to use the front loops only, or the back loops only, or even both loops. In this case, let's use the front loop only, and we are going to be making half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3 half double crochets in the same stitch. I move to the next one. It might be slow if this is your first time doing ruffles, but you will see a good result. So I'm making 3 half double crochets in every stitch, and I'm joining both sides, as you can see, to make a pouch. One, 2, 3. If it's easier for you to use all loops, go ahead and do that. That's what I'm doing right now, so it's easier and quicker. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. As you can see, I'm creating that ruffle effect, and if you want the ruffle to be even more, you can use 4, 5 half double crochets in every stitch, and that way it just becomes even more beautiful. Now, the one step we forgot is that we need to insert safety eyes in the between row 3 and 4. So 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to insert my safety eyes right there, because then if we seal it, then we can't insert the safety eyes. So sorry about that, but the easiest way is make sure your eyes are inserted before you start sealing. So let's go ahead and seal up to there. Then we are going to stuff it lightly and we are going to seal. So meet me when we are almost sealing. So just keep doing 3 half double crochets in every stitch. Okay, we are about to completely seal the pierogi, and as you can see, that ruffle is coming along well. So we are gonna stuff it lightly, or stuff it as much as you would like, and then we will seal the pierogi or the dumpling, whichever way you like to call it. It's just a plushie, doesn't have to be specific. I have my stuffing all in now, my safety eyes, and you can go ahead and put blush, give it a smile or a frown, whichever way you like. Just have fun with it. So let's seal and we'll move to the next project. Okay, our pierogi is sealed, so you can go ahead and break the yarn and weave in the edges, whichever way you do it. But that's our project number 2 using the same concept. I will remind you, this is the pierogi I had, and this is what we just made. We made the fruit piece, same concept. So now we are going to move on to the next project, which is an oyster. The oyster, you just add that piece and seal it in the same manner as a pierogi. So if you want to make the oyster with me, stay with me. If you want to go ahead and just make the fruit pieces and the pierogi, whichever way you like, just go with the flow. So for the oyster, you're going to use you're gonna make the gray one. I already have the base circle up to 32 single crochets in 32 single crochets. So this is what we want to make. This may look larger just because the yarn is bigger, but I had already made the tiny head, like I mentioned, just 6 single crochets in a magic ring, then increase to 9 and then seal. So for this one we need to have it in like that. So we are gonna join it into the gray part, and then it's gonna be something like that. Stay with me and you will see the finished product, which is going to be something like that. So you could use your darning needle to join it to the center, or in my case I just like using my crochet hook, and I just pick up one of the white yarn, pull it through and give it a maybe tight 3 times or whatever to make it secure. But again, we are going to secure it all over again once we are done with making a ruffle. So there is the oyster. As you can see, it's joined to the center of the round piece. So now we are going to make a ruffle around like that, but because we are starting on one side, there's gonna be a ruffle there, and then we are gonna go around and come back around that way. So for the oyster, we are going to secure this part that we previously made to the inside, where this part of your beginning of magic ring is. That's the one we are going to use to secure it. So this is the inside, that's the outside, the outer part. So when we fold it, the outer part is going to be facing you. So let's secure the oyster head in there, or whatever, the small head, and I will just give it like double knot there. You could also use a darning needle to make it even more secure, but for now that's what we are gonna do. Then in the same manner that we made a ruffle around the pierogi, we are going to make a ruffle around the head of the oyster, and that's what's gonna look like. So let's go ahead and make a ruffle using 3 half double crochet in every stitch, and we are joining like a half. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So for this, you just want to make sure you leave an opening enough so you can see the head in there. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be super concise, but just estimate. Or you could count. If you're that specific, you can count and divide them by 3 or whatever, but I just go with the flow. So 1, 2, and 3. You want your head to be almost centered in there, like that. And now you're gonna choose one side to make the ruffle and come back the other way. So let's make from the bottom. So we're gonna make this ruffle on one side now, leaving an opening for the oyster there. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I believe I made about five stitches, and the ruffle is there, and you can see him in there. Now we are going to join it such that he remains in the middle. So I'll go down using a slip stitch so that I can come back using a ruffle. That way we have ruffles all around. So slip stitch down all the way. You could also join using a darning needle and then make a slip stitch. I mean a ruffle, but this makes it no sew. So now we're gonna come back and we're gonna do a ruffle this way and the top part or the bottom, whichever way, as you can see. So we have the ruffle this way. We made the ruffle one side and we slip stitch down to the end. Then we are gonna make a ruffle back this way and a ruffle all the way here, and then find a way of joining the ruffles there. So let's go ahead and make the ruffles on the other side. So remember, it's three half double crochets in every stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and make the ruffle along, and I'll meet you at the end. As you can see, we've made ruffles around, and oyster is almost finished. You could either stuff a little bit or just leave him there, because then we are gonna need to secure him properly in there. So in my case, I will not stuff the oyster. We are going to break yarn, and we are going to use the same yarn to secure the oyster in there. So just go ahead and finish the ruffles as neat as you can, joining them together here, and break the yarn. And this yarn we are going to leave a long end to secure the oyster in there. So we're going to use a darning needle. I have my darning needle here. And weave in the yarn a little bit, and then we're gonna find a way of whichever way you can secure. Just make sure then you can see your oyster picking out there. So I'm just gonna pass the yarn through to the other side and seal it a little bit, and because it's the same color yarn, it's not going to be visible. It's not gonna make it look like it's not visible, so it's still neat. So again, I'm gonna pass the yarn through the head of the oyster, and I'm gonna secure him to the bottom, and again as many times as you want, so that it feels secure and looks secure, and it's not gonna be pulled out. Sometimes these are gonna be like a kid's toy, so you don't want them to be able to pull it out. And in that case, if you're making it for a child under 3, you would want to use embroidered eyes or felt eyes rather than these safety eyes, because they can come off and they are technically a safety hazard. But in this case, I just use the safety eyes. So our project number 3 is finished, and it's our oyster. And now you can go ahead and just secure your yarn and fasten off. just make knots so that it's as secure as it can get. Then you can go ahead and even weave in there. So there you have it. The oyster is finished, and there he is picking out. Same concept we used for all 3 projects. So now you should either have a pierogi, a fruit piece, and an oyster, or you have one of them. I don't know how to put them here so you can see all of them, but you can have either or all of them and make many more. So there you have it. Same concept, one circle, one round piece. Use a ruffle to make a pierogi. Use a ruffle and a small head to make an oyster, or just join it in the middle and give it some eyes for a fruit piece, or for coin pouch, or for a big bag, whichever way you would like it to be. And that's what I always say, whatever you do, whatever you are making, don't get fixated on stitch count, just go with the flow. Happy crocheting, happy making. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you make many more cute fruit pieces, pierogis, or oyster. See you in the next video. Bye.